What is up, guys? Tom here, also known as tgtkai, and it's finally time for the Sephiroth guide. So Sephiroth is a character that shocked me when he came out. I've been playing him since launch and think I've learned enough about the character to teach you guys the best possible way to play him. But before we get started, guys, I'm trying to make this channel pop off this year with this insane goal of 100,000 subscribers in 2020. So if you aren't subscribed and want more Hype Smash content, among other things, it'd mean the world to me if you'd hit that big red button. That said, guys, let's get into it. So first of all, his jab. It's a basic, fast 3-hit combo. It's mainly used for tech chases and jab locks. It's not bad in the way that it actually always knocks the opponent down even at 0, but that's really all it does. So his forward tilt, it's a fairly slow slash, but it does have ridiculous range and does kill fairly early, especially at the sweet spot, which is in the middle of the blade, since this is a slashing move. Not to mention its great range does make it very hard to punish from a distance. His up tilt is this quick upward stab. Ridiculously long range on this one. It can even hit the very top of battlefield. This move has a few uses. It's decent out of shield if you block, say, a smash attack, but it's even better to end a jab lock, since it is pretty quick and pretty damn powerful. Also, it can be a decent anti-air. However, its narrow hitbox makes it only really useful if the opponent is directly above Sephiroth. But it also is very powerful and can kill very early. So definitely use this in jab locks more than anything. Also, when used from the front, it always launches the opponent directly up and into the sweet spot. So this move actually is a very powerful kill move, similar to Snake's up tilt. So definitely start fishing for this when your opponent's in kill percentage. His down tilt. It's a move very similar to Cloud's down tilt. I use this move as an escape maneuver whenever I'm cornered at the edge. Very helpful to slide past the opponent and get Sephiroth to safety. Also, it low profiles a lot of projectiles and can be useful for that purpose alone to make progress forward while your opponent's trying to zone you. Also, worth noting, it is one of his fastest moves on startup and can also be used to end the jab lock if your opponent is slightly out of range of the up tilt. His dash attack, basically Mewtwo's dash attack. It's a very powerful kill move and can work as a great tech chase. However, it is very slow on recovery, so if you miss it, you will get punished. So use this move very sparingly. His forward smash is a slow single slash attack. It has ridiculous range, ridiculous kill power from the sweet spot, which is in the center of the blade. However, it's incredibly slow and incredibly punishable. This is a move I only use on a good read when I'm sure it's going to hit, or at the very least when I'm sure I'm not going to get punished. I'd be a little more inclined to use it in One Winged Angel mode where Sephiroth gets armor on it though. His up smash is basically Ganondorf's up smash on crack. It covers quite a bit of the stage, making it a solid anti-air. Using it as an anti-air also makes it very hard to punish from the air. However, if it's blocked, Sephiroth is going to eat some big damage, so try to only use this move when your opponent is jumping above you, otherwise you're going to be in for some trouble. His down smash is a downward stab that, if it connects with the floor of a stage, launches debris everywhere, doing additional damage, especially additional shield damage. If an opponent blocks one of your projectiles and takes any shield damage at all, look for an opportunity to use this to shatter their shield for what is essentially going to be a free stock. Also worth noting, if used at the edge, it performs like a normal stab with the sweet spot at the end. It can be used to 2-frame, however he has better options for that, which we'll get into. His Nair is one of his best moves. He snaps his fingers, creating a small AoE around him. This Nair is his best out of shield option, his best combo starter, his safest move. If an opponent's gotten into Sephiroth's range, Nair is the get off me type of move you want to be throwing out that can lead to any number of combos. He can combo his forward air from it, he can combo his back air from it, he can combo a lot of things off it. It can even combo into itself. This is a very versatile, very good move you want to be using all the time if an opponent gets past your F-air range. His forward air, the other move you want to be throwing out all the time. His fair is this narrow horizontal stab, which means sweet spot at the end of the blade. It's not his fastest move, but has great range and low end lag. It can be used to stab the wall to mix up recovery, its tipper is strong enough to KO near the edge, and its range overall is great at keeping opponents away from him. This is the move you want to be using to push opponents away and keep them at the optimal range for Sephiroth to thrive, which Sephiroth's optimal range is in a spot where he can hit the opponent, but they can't hit him. His back air is this slow but extremely powerful slash attack. This is one of Sephiroth's better kill options since it has insane kill power. It can be used after Nair, back throw, or down throw. It's also an excellent kill confirm because if you get one of those throw combos while you're in One Winged mode, You can kill almost any character between like 40 and 60, which is ridiculous. His up air. This is the move everybody was worried about just because of its ridiculous range. But this move has such slow startup and the literal worst end lag of any up air in the game. But it does cover a massive amount of space and is powerful enough to kill fairly low if used correctly. This is something I personally only really use when the opponent has been juggled above the stage and I'm going for a kill. As tempting as it might be to throw this move out on stage, it's extremely punishable and is a bad habit to get into. Sephiroth's down air is this downward stab very similar to Toon Link's, but the major benefit of this move is that it's an on-stage spike. Sephiroth can safely use this move from the ledge and 2-frame a spike with his ridiculous range. This is something you can safely throw out from ledge if you don't want to chase, and it's basically all reward for 0 risk. So now we're going to talk about his grab. So his forward throw, it's a basic forward throw, sets up for a tech chase, nothing too crazy about this one. But his back throw combos into his back air and forward air pretty consistently, can even be a kill confirm in One Winged Angel form. His up throw is also pretty interesting. If the opponent doesn't DI, it's a free up tilt after. At higher percentages, you can follow it up with an up air, which will catch your opponent if they do anything except dodge, which if you're at about 120, it's a free kill. That is a guaranteed kill confirm, which is crazy. His down throw is his best combo throw. It can combo into every fair, nair, back air consistently, and can even be a true kill confirm at relatively low percentages, around 50% in winged form near the edge. That is ridiculous that he has that kind of power off a throw. But now that we've talked about his normals, it's time to talk about his specials. So let's start with his neutral special, Flare / Mega Flare / Giga Flare. It's a chargeable projectile that is one of Sephiroth's craziest tools. Note, the charge doesn't hold, he does lose it if he cancels the charge, but as a base flare, it's a basic fireball projectile that moves at a decent speed across the screen. Not bad, but charge it up for a little bit and you get Mega Flare, which travels a shorter distance but has this big explosion at the end. This move alone has great kill power and edge guarding potential if timed right. Then we have Giga Flare, which takes the longest to charge and goes the least distance, but does incredible damage with this massive explosion, fully breaking shields on its own if it's blocked. This does massive damage if it hits and can kill as low as 20 to 30% on its own at the edge. Not to mention, if spaced well, you can add any number of attacks to it. You can throw an F smash on top of it, you could throw a grab on top of it, you could use a fair, nair, back air. There's a ton of options you can use if you aren't quite at the spacing for the forward smash. However, much of the time there's no need, since the explosion will often kill the opponent on its own. This move has a multitude of uses. Edge guarding with Mega Flare and Giga Flare, using the normal flare is just a good projectile, shield break punishes, and my personal favorite for mind games, since you can cancel out of the charge up by pressing shield. I use this all the time to bait my opponent into jumping or trying to avoid it, and then canceling the charge and then punishing appropriately. Also worth noting, you can B-reverse it to mix up your landing and trip your opponent up. I don't do this enough out of poor muscle memory, but it's definitely a nice tool to have. His side special, the Shadow Flare. Shadow Flare, I think, is Sephiroth's single most important move if you ask me. He snaps his fingers, sending a lightning fast projectile a short distance across the screen. If it hits, a ball of darkness follows your opponent for a few seconds and then it explodes. The longer you hold it down, the more balls stack on the opponent. They can have up to 5 at a time stacked on them as well. Also worth noting, Sephiroth can turn around during the charge. Once you release the Shadow Flare, he will face whichever way the stick is facing, which once again is great for mix-ups. So why is this move so good? Same reason as Giga Flare, mind games. If you tag your opponent with even one Shadow Flare, that's now something that they need to think about. It's going to interrupt whatever they're doing and they need to prepare for that. So let's say they choose to block the Shadow Flare hit. If I happen to be in the right spot, I'm down smashing that and getting a free shield break for a guaranteed 0 to death setup. That alone is why I love this move. It gives Sephiroth so much control of the game. But that's not all, it has great combo potential. Like let's say you get a few Shadow Flares on an opponent, you land a nair to forward air combo, and then the Shadow Flares go off for the kill, which could kill as early as like 30%. This is something very easy to do, stylish as hell, and totally viable that can kill an opponent way earlier than it should. Shadow Flare is a versatile move with so many uses. Guys, definitely keep experimenting because you will find some really cool stuff with this move. Okay, so his up B is actually kind of crazy. So first of all, if you just tap up B, he does this lightning fast slice across the screen for a short distance. It has low end lag, and personally, I use this move sometimes when I jump off ledge to instantly regain center stage. But the real meat of this move is when you hold down the button. He charges off this crazy attack that's similar to Firefox, but it's basically Firefox on crack. See, it has an extremely large hitbox, making it extremely hard to punish, so unless the opponent can catch the startup, they're unlikely to punish this without a counter, which in my opinion makes Sephiroth's recovery much better than we all thought it was. Not to mention the functionality of this move offensively. I use it sometimes as a suicide move. I jump straight off the stage and go down to catch low recoveries. Since it always shoots the direction Sephiroth is facing, it can guarantee a kill in a dicey situation. The last major use for this move is at 2-framing the ledge. If used while on ledge, Sephiroth will never leave the ledge, so he will just do the full Octoslash at the ledge. This makes it extremely easy to 2-frame a recovery with this, and is something I personally don't use as much as I should, because it can be literally free KOs on certain characters like Cloud, the Fire Emblem Squad, Little Mac, etc. And of course his down B, the Scintilla. This is a counter that's very unique. He'll block anything in front of him, it will eat projectiles but not reflect them, and the actual attack always comes out whether or not he countered anything, making it have the slowest end lag of any counter in the game. However, I personally think this move is incredible, since it does ridiculous damage on counter, especially in One Winged form. It kills as early as 50% depending on the attack he counters. Also, an excellent edge guarding tool for many of the same reasons as Octoslash. At the edge, it can catch the recovery of so many characters without even needing to leave the edge, while still doing enough knockback to guarantee the stock if it does catch them. The downside, of course, being that it only blocks the front, so if an opponent is expecting it, they can easily punish it, so use this move selectively. And last but not least, I want to talk about One Winged Angel form. This is Sephiroth's comeback mechanic. It's a little bit debatable what triggers it exactly, but generally the higher his percentage is, the more likely he is to get it. The more stocks you're down, the sooner you'll get it. Once you have it, you generally keep it until you take a stock. The exception being if you are a full stock behind, you will keep it even if you take a stock. Regardless of exactly what triggers Wing, when Sephiroth has it, everything he has is a tiny bit faster, does a decent amount more damage and knockback, and his smash attacks all get armor. Oh, and he also gets an extra jump too if that wasn't enough. It's basically all upside, all buffs, with no downside. And since there's no direct time limit like there is with Limit, there's no reason to rush your offense. Sephiroth will keep it until he takes a stock, so play as you normally would. Everything that worked before still works now, except now his down throw to back air will kill at 40 near the edge, which is absolutely nuts. So, now that we all know how his moves work, let's talk about Sephiroth's game plan. He is a character that, while not directly being a zoner, does rely heavily on proper spacing. There are a few important things to note when playing as Sephiroth. The first is to always be in a position where you can hit your opponent but they can't hit you. A fundamental of sword characters in general, but extremely important regardless. You see the length of Sephiroth's sword, right? Use it. His forward air is great for this. You want to be using this to keep your opponent away at all times. You always want to be just far enough away where they can't do anything to punish you. Then of course, if they do get in, you want to start switching to Nair, which can combo into forward air or back air to get your opponent away from you again, or even one of these grab combos. You do this to build up damage until they're in a position that you can go for the kill, which 9 out of 10 times with Sephiroth you're going to get your kills through edge guarding. Sephiroth has 100 tools to edge guard. His Giga Flare, his counter, he can chase safely and get back to the stage safely. His up B on stage can catch a recovery, his down air, even his grab kill confirms at the right percentages. Once you have your opponent in a position to kill, all you need to do is get them off stage, which opens up all of these possibilities for you to use in order to secure the stock. These options only get better if you have Wing, since the knockback of everything you do gets improved, it becomes that much easier to kill your opponent. Another important thing, make sure your opponent always has a Shadow Flare on them. As I said before, if they have a Shadow Flare on them, the opponent needs to think about that Shadow Flare, which sets up an effective mind game and keeps Sephiroth in control of the game. Similarly, remember to use Mega Flare to zone your opponent and mix them up by canceling it as well. Doing all this will give you the advantage, keep you in your opponent's head, and ultimately will get you more wins. Remember, spacing is everything with Sephiroth. His edge guarding is his greatest strength. And keep your opponent guessing, and you're already well on your way to being a Sephiroth main. Sephiroth is a relatively straightforward character to use once you know all his tools. Utilize his range, mix-ups, mind games, combos, and kill confirms, and you'll go a long way. As far as his weaknesses go, I've spoken about it before, but while he does have his Nair as his fastest out of shield option, it's no replacement for something like Cloud's up B, since it does have a very limited range. He'll have a hard time getting a smart player off of him, so you definitely need to play smart and play patient to try and avoid being put in that high pressure situation to begin with. His speed is his other flaw. Out of everything in his kit, the only truly fast and safe move is his Nair. Everything else either has nasty startup or nasty end lag. They had to do something to make up for his incredible range, but some of his moves are among the slowest in the game. You need to be extremely careful which moves you throw out and when. Other than that, I think he's a character that lands somewhere on the high tier, mainly because he struggles specifically with the top tier characters like Pikachu or Inkling and their insane rushdown and pressure, but with patience and good play, even Sephiroth can overcome these monsters. The last thing to really talk about are the best stages for Sephiroth. He's a character that I think does fine anywhere, but if I have a choice, I'll pick a stage with platforms, particularly something like Northern Crater, Unova, or Battlefield. Northern Crater or Unova, because of the platforms on the edge, basically guarantee a low percentage stock off a simple grab combo. Battlefield for the same reason with an up throw to an up tilt or an up air. The only thing about Crater and Unova that I don't like is that having those side platforms can make punishing high recoveries more difficult, but I just like having easy kill confirms, so it's a trade-off I think is worth it personally. But like I said, I don't think any stage is particularly bad for Sephiroth, but the benefits of these stages mean I'm way more likely to pick one of these over like Final Destination or something. And I think that's really everything you guys need to excel with Sephiroth. So I'm going to leave you off with a few combos here that I think are easy, essential combos to learn with Sephiroth. And in the description, I'm also going to link Frenzy's combo guide because he's the king of combos. So if you want to learn how to do some of the real crazy stuff, check out his guide. You will not regret it. Guys, thank you so much for watching this whole video. I'm sure it's longer than I thought it was going to be, looking at the time of recording this voiceover. But guys, once again, if you are new, it would mean the absolute world if you hit that subscribe button. Comment any other Sephiroth tips down below you have. I'd love to hear them. I'll heart any useful comments, so I do see them. So yeah, feel free to drop any more tips below to help anybody out picking up the character. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, everybody.